Hello and welcome back to the worst Warmachine channel on the internet. I'm Malorian, and it's time for another Warmachine battle report, and I am excited for this one. This is a game, I had my buddy Ryan come over to my house. We kind of worked out what the pairings were going to be between what I wanted to play and what he was going to play, and what we thought would be a good matchup. And what I'm going to be playing is, of course, I am still on my Infernals kick, but I'm going to be playing Agathon. So Agathon, I've never been an assassination type of player, but Agathon makes it so easy. So, you know, I'm doing that. I'm also loving the other tricks you could be doing with Agathon as well. So that's going to be my list. I can't wait to be doing that. And then looking across on the other side for what Ryan's taking, Ryan's going to be bringing in a Fiona list. And when I heard it was, when we worked this out and it was going to be Fiona, I was like, that's fantastic. In fact, like the pairing he brought in was Fiona and Bart. I'm like, maybe don't bring Bart because the whole knockdown thing won't even work against pretty much my whole battle group. But otherwise, this here is like, I'm all about the magics. Fiona is all about the magics. So this will just be really, really cool. Now, unfortunately, when I told my gaming group about this, like, oh, I can't wait to have this game against my buddy, they're like, Brian, you fool, you have such an advantage here. I'm like, well, what do you mean? You know, like, he even has the stuff, right? If I miss him with a spell, it's going to be hitting me. He's like, well, Brian, it's not about the assassination. It's about everything else, right? So the big thing is that, like, even if Fiona goes up and tries to defensively feat, I can just arc node very, very easily while staying outside of it, and that will basically, the feat will do nothing to me. Meanwhile, I am blasting his infantry with hellmouths. I'm dark firing off all the solos I want. You know, obviously, you know, we're talking about mercs and irregulars, so of course there's an Aghast before there, an Asphyxious the Sanctified, so that's an easy kill for me. And so basically, I can just like piecemeal this entire thing down. So what my local gaming group did is gave me an extra challenge. I am not allowed to harm Fiona. Now, Ryan doesn't know that, but I'm just not allowed in any way to do any damage to Fiona. The only one thing that they did allow was I have one spell called Censor, where it kind of like dispels all upkeeps unless the owner takes D3 damage to keep them. That one I'm allowed, but obviously that's going to really change the way this game goes, whereas I thought I was just going to go up and go for like try and get the assassination. Now I'm good. They're kind of forcing me to play this game the way I'm supposed to be, which is really just kind of like picking apart piece by piece. All right, so here's deployment, and the very first thing I want to be pointing out here is that we did make a mistake. If you look at the objectives and the flags on the left, we accidentally swapped those. I'm sorry. Simple mistake. It's not going to have a significant change on the game. Now, in my deployment, I won the initiative. I get the +1 for Runewood, so it's pretty easy to do. And I want to go first, as you do. And one of the things you might notice is odd in my deployment is I put the Howlers on the left, whereas the big circle that, you know, you score with infantry is on the right. Now, the reason why I did that is that as I play this game, I find, or this scenario rather, I find that the circle on the right is just pretty much always contested, right? Maybe a solo runs up and scores it and then gets killed or something, but by and large, the scenario victories from this scenario is won by the person that guards their own flag and just scores it over and over and over again. So having the Howlers over here will protect my flag and will let me grind in and hopefully get to his. Now, just to try and explain the terrain as we go across here, going from left to right, we have some water, we have a cloud, a couple of pieces there of quicksand. He has a building, I have a forest and a trench, and then we each have a water, and there's some rubble on the right. Looking at how he counter deployed, you can see he has some very hard hitters here on the left with like Asphyxious the Sanctified and a good part of the battle group here. Although on the right, he does also have those good old cutthroats that want to come in there and do some damage to me as well. So overall, I just want to kind of like play my first turn safe. I'm not going to get anything really done and just going to set up for a future turn. So on the first turn, that's really what I do. I mark out with my wretches where they're going to be so I can be doing little stealth tricks for everyone who is base to base. Otherwise, Runewood, who I really won't be needing in this game, just kind of runs up so that when an Agathon goes up, I can cast Tether. After getting the Harmonious and, you know, of course, going up there with the Hermit, getting extra essence. And then I turned Runewood into a Desolator, which you can see over there in the cloud. Now, The other thing that I ran up there is also the Soul Stalker. Now, the Soul Stalker is stealth, and it is set up so that the cutthroats cannot advance and shoot it. However, Iris can, but hell, if he wants to throw away Iris, he is more than welcome to. Otherwise, just in case he does do some shooting against me, with Princess Regna, I go up there and I make a Lamenter. I go and I cast Acceleration. The Cultists come in. They give some extra essence out. Desolator walks a little bit more forward so I can threaten things with sprays. And that's really it. So I'm feeling pretty safe here, and I'm looking for a very explosive next turn. All right, so on his turn, he kind of starts moving up here, trying to space out. We had talked about Hellmouth before, so when he was first going up there with the actual cutthroats, you can see how well that the cutthroats themselves are all kind of spaced out. The problem is that after you're done with the crows, then you kind of realize, like, where am I going to put everything else? Are they just going to be irrelevant, staying way far back, or are we going to get in there? And so he decides to get in there. Now, the problem with that is that even though he did great spacing for the infantry, I can now Hellmouth the actual jacks and get everything around them. And there are some very key things around that white Toro over there. There is the Gastone model that is running the Buccaneer, and there's also Iris as well. So I can get some very, very juicy things from that side. Meanwhile, on the left, you know, he at first talked about maybe making some clouds to go with those clouds. I gave him the friendly reminder that I have eyeless sight, so please don't do that. So otherwise, he's trying to be a little bit safe here. I don't like the Toro behind the quicksand. I don't understand why he did that, because obviously it's going to slow him down, even if he was going to be going to get a counter charge. And the one model beside it, that white model you're seeing there between the painted Toro and the building, is actually his Hermit. He's using a little bit of another model from a different company. It's cool. It's a Hermit that's holding a scroll. It's perfect. But I've actually never played Infernals against an enemy Hermit before, so I'm going to be very, very careful about that. So anyway, that's his turn. You know, he has the cultists are actually the cutthroats. They could be threatening me for the spell, where if I kill one, he can pick something else. He also put that onto the Croe's cutthroats. Sure, why not? But yeah, right now, I'm really just wanting to jam things up while I just try and kill things with spells and try and really actually try and get as many souls as possible, so that on my future turn I can actually have something where when I feat, it can be as powerful as possible. So looking at my turn, you can see it went very well. So pretty much I do my normal things. I go up and I take some damage up onto Agathon so I can get my essence back. Regna kills off one of my cultists, so I get my essence back, and then I give everything more with the Hermit. I do Harmonious, all that, you know, Puppet Master, all the cool stuff. And then what I decide to do is just get Hellmouthing. So go up there with one of my arc nodes there, the Foreboders, and I just start Hellmouthing that Toro. Now, the problem with doing a Hellmouth on a large model is that you still, after you pull them in, only hit anything that's in that AoE 3, and so if you have this big model like that, there's not as many things that actually go onto it. Now, luckily, that did actually do some damage to the models around it, and more importantly, killed off Gastone Cross, so that when I did the second one, and of course I boost the damage on Gastone Cross, when I did the second one, that then pulled an Iris, and so basically from this, I killed off like a whole bunch of the cultists. I killed off Gastone, so now the Buccaneer's inert. I killed off Iris, so that's fantastic. A little bit of damage to the Toro, like basically nothing. And then what I'm able to do is basically charge in and do an assault spray with my Desolator. It does some good work, kills some more things. Charge in with the Soul Stalker, it kills a dude. And so I just have so much essence that came in from all that. I mean, of course, also went in there with good old Anastasia, got a shot off there as well. And from Tether, I was able to pull back my Foreboder after her. So that's what I love. You know, that's one thing I've learned about Tether, is at first I thought Tether was supposed to be there to move your Tormentor closer, and then you can like teleport back if you need to. No. It's for bringing your Foreboder back towards you. Otherwise, you can see on the left, I just play it safe. I want to try and make sure that the Toro can't get to me. Although I did forget with the Nomad that he can get to be able to see through the cloud with that objective. Again, the objective should not be there. It should be in the middle. But whereas I thought the cloud was going to keep me safe, he can actually look through that and actually get to me. So that was a little bit sloppy, but I don't care. If he kind of comes to me with whatever, I can then attack him really well back, getting, of course, vengeance and all those cool things, and really going after him. So definitely happy with how this turn went. All right, so going on to his turn 2, he's going to be having some sneaky stuff going on here beside me. He has Anastasia come in, and I knew that Anastasia was there, and so he was able to throw a dagger and kill a cultist. Well, okay, that just kind of like put another one on Orin for my rerolls, and then he has the last remaining Eliminator running over here to cause me trouble too. So this is something that is normally not a huge threat for an army, but I need my cultists. So I'm going to have to deal with these really quickly. Otherwise, they can very easily be killing like 3 models a turn, and that'll be a very, very big deal for me. We also had this very funny interaction where the Crows kind of come in, and he's already defeated at this point. So, I mean, the odds of me hitting very, very low. So, but when he comes in, I'm like, sure, why not? I'll countercharge. And then he countercharges me with his Toro. And then I go, haha, now I'm going to countercharge you with my other Tormentor. And the problem here again is with all of that feat stuff going on with Fiona, where I'm -1 dice for damage and to hit. Well, yeah, I didn't hit the cutthroat. He then does like tons of damage to me. I missed the Toro, and yeah, there you go. I basically just let him do a bunch of extra damage to me for no reason. So that was a very silly thing. I think normally I'd be okay with this. Hey, your Toro does an extra hit to me. I do another big hit to you. I'll take it. I'm going to lose that one Tormentor anyway. But in this case, yeah, it was just a really bad move. Otherwise, it basically went down like this. So after that Toro comes in and does extra work, it actually isn't able to take out that one Tormentor there. I was really surprised. I thought it was going down for sure, but he just had some of the worst dice rolls. And so what are you going to do? You know, like it's barely holding on for life, but yeah, it's still there. So that was just really unlucky for my opponent. Otherwise, the other thing he decided to do was just go for it. So one of the hard things it is in this matchup is what to do with your Asphyxious the Sanctified, Gaspy 4, because I have Dark Seduction on 2 of my models, so I can just like take control of him and make him like walk to me and turn around, and so it's very hard to keep him somewhere safe. Also, if he's going to be staying back and hiding, the Jack that's running, the Nomad in this case, can't really get anywhere either because it can only be up to 10 inches away if it wants to keep all of its focus. So basically, Ryan just said, screw it. If we're going to do this, let's just do it. So he kind of comes in here, Gaspy charges in, gets some work done, goes in there with the Nomad like we said, and so he kills off 3 of my Howlers here, but now he's really there in a prime spot for me to actually go after. Now, I think in a normal game, what I do is try and take it down with the actual Tormentor there. And I mean normal game, as in like if I wasn't playing Agathon. However, I do have Agathon, and I can't use a feat onto his actual caster. So I'm just going to assassinate Gaspy. So that's going to be my plan here. The feat means that most of my things won't get anything done, but my real goal here is just trying to really make sure that that model goes away and that I can start counter scoring, because on his turn, he was able to score his flag and I contested mine. So he's currently ahead on scenario. So on my turn, that's what I do. I have all that Essen that comes into me, the whole thing where the Hermit gives focus, do Puppet Master, you know, all that little super fun stuff. And then really happens from there is pew, 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 very, very easily shoot down and get rid of his Gaspy 4 there, which is now going to be making the Nomad also inert. I also tried making some attacks against the Toro, but on the right, but of course, with that feat going up, I really couldn't get anything done. So really, I tried making some attacks over there, but I'm really just wasting my time for the most part. Like that, Fiona has an amazing feat. It's really good. Otherwise, I'm just trying to get in the way of things like the Toro, trying to get over there. So I counter score. He's still going to score as well. I actually thought about, I did do that. If you look at the Toro on the left, that's right, I was thinking about it, and then I did it. I ran up my Foreboder Foreboder because the one on the left I'm probably not going to need anymore. So it just runs up. It's going to contest. That also means that the Toro is probably going to be killing the Foreboder rather than more important things. So it's kind of a win-win. I never thought I'd be throwing away Foreboders like that, but I ended up doing that. So that actually now ties up the scenario 1-1, but attrition-wise, I'm clearly far ahead. All right, so going into his next turn, yeah, he's going to be getting some revenge now. So whereas before he had some issues, this time all the issues are gone and he's just like decimating the world. So he is able to go and kill off both Tormentors on the right. That really hurts. And then on the left, his Toro, like we kind of talked about, goes off and kills the Foreboder and also is able to kill off the Howler that was in the way there as well. So that's all well and good for him. We're each going to score. Things kind of like looking a little bit more even there. But obviously, what I need to do now is kind of just clean things up. On the right, I need to get rid of that Toro, get rid of that Alexia 2 model. I don't know if I have what I need to get rid of the Hermit, because again, if you destroy the Hermit, everything within 8 inches loses all of its essence. So that'd be really bad for me. You can go and kill it with a Tormentor and then snack it, but I don't have a Tormentor over there currently that can really get it done effectively. So I might just have to ignore the Hermit for a turn and just try and get rid of everything else. So that's what I really do on my turn. I mean, go over there, do my best to try and take down that Toro. In the end, I came just a little bit shy of it. And so what I actually ended up doing is going over there with the one Foreboder that you see and just like dark firing it in the back, just pew, 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 and finish it off that way. So sure, why not? So between that and the Soul Stalker killing off Alexia, that's fantastic. Another thing I almost did as well is if you see these little like warrior models there, those are all also proxies for Thamorite advocates. I maybe should have mentioned that. I'm sure you saw on the list and kind of like assumed you're all smart people. But yeah, I decided not to, because again, if you kill them, you lose 1 essence from all your guys around it. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just be happy with what we have and we can just leave it alive for right now. Otherwise, yeah, I'm able to put in both my Tormentors into his other Toro. That's able to go and kill it. I was able to kill off Kell Baylock. I'm contesting his flag. I'm moving over more things to contest his flag. I'm scoring my flag. And now I'm pulling ahead on scenario and obviously was already ahead on attrition. So on his turn, Ryan decides to do what he can and basically just like befuddles away the world, just befuddles away all my things contesting his flag. He just scores that again. The Hermit does annoying things, and that's really all he can do. So he'll score, but I'll also score. And then on my turn, of course, it just gets even worse, right? On my turn, I am able to finally kill the models. I just destroy his objective. I kill the one Thamorite advocate that is on the flag. I kill the other one because I figure like, now this is the time. Who cares? I kill off the Hermit and snack it. And at that point, you know, now I can score the zone. I can score the flag. I'm scoring my own flag. Like, it's done now. Now I'm winning on scenario. So that's going to be the game. So overall, I do feel that for me, it was an enjoyable game. You know, I came out of this going, wow, I got to do all these cool things. I got to do those awesome Hellmouths. I got to do those dark fire assassinations and things. On Ryan's side, though, as we talked about after, he was not so happy about it. I mean, he must have just felt helpless, right? That's how he said he felt. It's just like, well, he kind of tries to be safe, and then everything kind of gets Hellmouthed, and then his Gaspy 4 is basically useless, and he was going to be basically having his Gaspy 4 regardless. Like, what he's going to do now? Just not take it? So it really puts you in a really bad spot, and it really kind of shows me what my group was telling me, that really, when it comes to the matchup between these two lists, it's not a game of counter assassination. That has nothing to do with how the game's actually going to be played. It's just the tools at hand. And even though Fiona's feat really shut me down for a turn, making it so that my horrors weren't really getting anything done. We had that silly countercharge interaction. The main thing is that Agathon is the real engine that can do all of its work regardless about the feat or not, because my control range is so long and I have my arc nodes, I can just make these things happen. So overall, I mean, that's kind of some lessons learned. I feel bad that he didn't really have that enjoyable of a game, but, you know, at least we got talking after and started talking about and dojoing some more anti-Agathon lists. So hopefully next time, you know, he has more enjoyment running those. For all you guys watching this, please let me know if you like this battle report, and let me know if you agreed with my assessments, if you have any thoughts on what I did or the lists, and otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.